Sounds good. All right. Thanks for joining us for this new session on, I guess, building our backend project here today. So first things first, I think we're gonna do our stand up, and we can go there real quick. Jira. All right, our Kanban board. Last time, I sort of assigned you guys this assignment to try your best to add APIs for getting the store list and store cell values. Since it's only Mo and Gene, I guess we can kind of go through each one by one. You guys can tell us your progress so far. If you're blocked, which is if you guys are having issues, and we can, based off of where you guys are at, then we can go from there. So Mo, why don't you start us off, and then afterwards we can have Gene hop on and tell us his progress.
Oh, yes. Due to my work constrictions, I haven't had the opportunity to start. I'll likely start on either Sunday or Monday. So no progress with me. But earlier, when I was asking you about your availability, um, you will very likely be hearing from me over the week because I'm sure I will be running into some blocks. See, as to that, I've never done anything like this before. So,
Sure, no worries. And to be honest, in today's session, I'll be clearing out this ticket, but I'll be giving you a new ticket. So don't worry about that. And you can just look through my tasks, my code, and trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And I think I'll really break it down a lot more. Last time was me coding a lot. This time, I think I'm going to explain it in depth, exactly how it works, so it makes more sense to you guys. How about you, Oscar? Did you get a chance to take a look at this?
Oscar.
Or no, sorry, Gene. I'm so sorry.
I'm just messing with you. So yeah, I spent my afternoon today going through the individual files. So I just wanted to know what each file means and what each file does. I know yesterday you went through like a summary of what it does. So today I've been using ChatGPT a lot to help me actually understand. Yeah, so like what each file, what each package, or everything that all the files within the application, what they mean. And now I think I have a good understanding of
Mhm.
what everything, yeah, so far everything goes so far. Um, so I have an idea of REST APIs based on like I worked with Django before.
Mhm.
So this coming to Spring Boot, this is totally new. So
Okay.
as much as I understand about HTTP responses and all those things, getting to work with Spring Boot, that's the problem. So yeah, so I just spent a majority of my afternoon today trying to understand what each file does and everything.
Sure.
Uh,
Okay. Sorry. Go for it.
and yeah, so when I started tackling the first instruction, actually the second instruction in Jira, the one in and commenting the two get store list method and get exchange percentage method and linking them with the service class methods. Uh, so I asked ChatGPT, like I told you, I was using ChatGPT to try to understand this, and it changed the get exchange percentage method. So it was returning a list of sell merchant DTO objects.
Do
So
you
it
have
was
a branch so far? Why don't we do this? I think it's a lot
okay.
easier if you create your own. Don't push to main. You know how to create
Okay.
your own branch, right? So
Yeah.
create a feature branch. Why don't you push it? I'll pull it real quick, and we can look through it, and maybe I can clear up any clarifications or any problems, and we can work off of your branch, fix all the bugs, get it working, and then we'll merge it onto ours. How's that sound?
Okay. Yep. That's okay. So
Sounds good.
let
You
me
know
try it.
the etiquette for this, right? So let me tell you the etiquette for creating a feature branch. So what you're doing is a feature, right?
Yeah.
And so over here, um, the ticket number is KAN-4. So if hypothetically, and I'm going to delete this branch real quick in a little bit, but if hypothetically I were you and I had my changes, let me first go ahead and pull. I'm going to discard these changes here, discard them. Okay, so what I would do is I would do feature slash KAN-4. So the feature denotes that this is a feature branch, and
Yeah.
KAN-4 is your ticket number, right? And you can get the ticket number. I don't know why computer is lagging, but right over here, right? So, um, yeah, go ahead and use that, and we can go from there. So let me know when you're finished pulling and or pushing your changes over, and I'll
And
pull it, and let's see what you're doing.
you pull it or you fork it? Because I think I'll be pushing it to my repository, then you'll be forking it. Or
Yes,
is
no,
that
no, no. So you push it onto your branch. I'll pull from
okay?
your branch, and then
Okay.
later on we'll merge it back in. But yeah, just create your own branch and push your changes, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
Okay, let me try.
And if you need help with that, let me know, and I'll help you out. You doing good so far, Gene? You need help or
Yeah, so far so good. So
okay?
you said for the feature branch, the name should be feature slash the name of the ticket. So in
Yes,
this
that's right.
case,
Feature slash KAN-4. Yeah.
can I use
Right.
capital letters when I'm? Can I use capital letters?
Yeah, capital letters. To be completely honest, so yeah, just try to do capital letters because it matches it exactly. If it's
Okay.
slightly off, people don't care as much because they're just merging in later. But
Yeah.
it makes things a lot easier for us to like really visualize.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got rid of the other GitHub, huh?
What? No, no. Other GitHub is always still there. I never delete it.
Oh, because I went to it and it said 404. This is not the web page you're looking for.
Oh, the other. Which one?
The card arbitrage backend, like the
Uh,
link that I have isn't
yeah.
attached.
The other one, because we renamed it. Basically, remember how essentially when we uploaded the project, they renamed the. Yeah, essentially the thing is renamed. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can rename it again real quick. Give me a minute. Card. There we go. Yeah, I can rename it. See. Now
Yeah.
I'm worried that my Git UI might freak out, but
So I just ran into an issue.
okay. Why don't you
So
share your screen and we'll
yeah,
go
let me
from
show.
there. Yeah. By the way, are you using CLI, so command prompt, or okay? Git branch looks good. Git
So I think I'm not supposed to say. It says remote origin already exists.
no. So Git I think it's
Oh,
just. Did you commit everything already? So you did. Okay. I
yeah.
think you just do git push.
Okay.
Yeah. So just delete all that and just do git push.
So I won't specify if it's going to the feature branch or just or anything. Just
If
git push.
because you already are, you can check your current branch right now, and you should theoretically already be on the
The-
on that thing. But you know what I would suggest? Like a lot of people like to do UI or the CLI, and don't get me
mhm.
wrong, it does have its place, and if you're good at it, you can. I always use the UI because I know exactly where the branches are. I don't have to keep and the diffs are much easier to see. If you
Okay.
want, do me a favor, go ahead and download GitHub UI. And honestly, also IntelliJ already has their own Git tools already inside. Like if you go to the left hand side and you look at the third tab,
Is it
scroll
this?
up, go up to the very
Up
top, and you can see it from the third tab.
this
It
one?
should tell you. Yeah, click that one. I think it's that one.
I'll
Yeah,
try
it
to.
should tell you like, okay, log in via GitHub. That also should help you out. I've never used it before, but it should, in theory, do the same thing.
Yeah, I've always tried to avoid using the inbuilt Git features in both IntelliJ or VS Code because
Huh.
it's I think just I'm used to using the command line, but
Right, right.
yeah,
Uh,
but
I don't know.
I'll
I
try
personally use GitHub UI, so
UI. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, I'm just
just
downloading.
because
I'm
I'm very
downloading
used
it.
to it. But if you're better at the command line, then more power to you. Um, Let me see.
So
Did I give you guys access to this? I just want to make sure because if I didn't give you guys remote access and you guys can only clone it, that could also be a reason. But it should tell you it's because of access denied if that's the case.
okay, let me try to finish up with the CLI and then.
Git push. You want to just try typing git push to see what happens?
So let me try to says push
Oh boy, you messed up the
upstream.
head. Uh-oh.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what you did, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we download the GitHub UI real quick and then why don't you show me that, and then I can get a better visualization of where you are so far.
It's downloading right now. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
What is the tool called again?
Oh, it's just called GitHub UI. GitHub made their own Git tool that you can very easily see exactly what's going on. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it. Um, Let me see if I can. It's called GitHub Desktop. There it is, desktop.github.com. And I use it personally. Other people use tools like GitKraken and all sorts of other stuff, and it's more powerful. But for most of, for 99.9% of what you need to do, this desktop will have it. There's some crazy stuff like resetting the head hard or like forcing a merge without verification and stuff like that that this doesn't have, but then you can just default to command line if it really comes down to that.
So yeah, I managed to download and just install it. So let me share the screen.
Sure. You want to share your whole screen? That way it makes it easier than you having to switch out. You know,
Oh,
up to
okay.
you. But if you have something sensitive in the background, I won't force you, obviously.
Yeah, I have so many tabs open.
Gotcha. No worries.
So so I think that's the one.
Okay. Click on that.
Or because I already cloned it, so I don't really need to clone it.
Right. So, um, did you double click on double click on that real quick? See if you can get into it.
So that's what
No,
I'm
does it
trying.
not do
Yeah.
anything? Okay, go ahead and click on add an existing repository from your local drive.
Mhm.
Choose that repository that we were just talking about.
Okay. With that.
Add repository. Okay. And yes, you're on feature KAN-4. Go ahead and click on history.
Where is okay?
Yes. And okay, I can see your changes. Go ahead and click on push origin / main. Or yeah.
So it says my current branch. So I should
Yes. Go
yeah.
ahead and click push. Yes. Push it for me. Looks good. Okay, let me pull that now. And so now I will share my screen. See how that makes things a lot easier, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, all right.
Yeah. I'll play with it just to see how it goes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you made a mistake here
Okay.
because you merged your commit directly into my main branch. Um,
Oh.
yeah, you should be creating your own branch, but that's okay. For today, I I should be putting protection on this so that the main branch, you guys can't do that. I think it's only allowed if I pay money for it. So
Okay.
yeah. But in the future, always always create your own feature branch, and then afterwards, um, where you want to merge it into the main branch or the develop branch or whatever branch, right? You always create a PR, right? But
Actually, from the app, I can see that it says current branch was feature. Like I already created a branch. I already created a feature. Yeah. So
did you merge it in? Huh.
I really didn't merge or anything.
That is
But
interesting. I don't know why, but we will figure that out next time. It's okay.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Yes, that this is indeed correct. What I'm going to do. Okay. What I'm going to do here is something like this.
Yeah. I'd created some comments just to like while I was going through the files.
Right.
Just like some kind of notes or something.
Right. Okay, I think actually you probably have the formatting right, and I probably actually don't have the formatting right, so that's fine there. So immersion DTO. Okay,
Yeah, so I was trying to
got it.
mess up with some code and I got stuck. I was like, let me just try to wait until then I'll ask you.
No worries. Card cache service get store list. No need to do this because over here we're not creating a new list. This should already create a list of string for us. So in theory, the store list GTO is a string of a list. Oh, I see where that confusion came from because I actually messed up here. But over here, instead of a string list, I should be doing this. All right, let me go ahead and I think I can better explain this a little bit from last time. So, right, these are the explanations. So it creates a header object, right? And so you guys understand the whole idea behind how this part works, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll open up Hopscotch again, and I'll show you guys. So let's just say when we generate a new session, right? Um, the server needs a few things from us, right? It needs to know what kind of call it is. It's a post call. It's going to this URL. It requires this specific header. Um, so over here, basically, we're saying like, hey, we want to hit this endpoint, right? So if I look at it, this specific endpoint, and you can see it matches exactly here, right? Using the post call, and you can see over here, I'm telling it HTTP method.post, right? We want
Mm-hmm.
to add this specific header. Do you remember how I said this specific header over here?
Yeah.
Um, and we want to make sure that the header's value is equal to this. So we're just getting that. And you might be wondering, okay, what is this card cache session DTO? How did you get this and populate it, right? So when I send it, notice how the server responds in a JSON, right? And the JSON contains 3 items: expires in seconds, session, and rendered assets, right? Or render assets, right? And so um, instead of me having to dig through each of the JSONs and look through it, which is a huge pain, right? Um, I can create my own object, and inside the object, I just literally copy and paste exactly what the server says. So the server has one object called expires in seconds. I literally paste it in here as an integer, expires in seconds. And inside the JSON, there is another object called session ID. I literally copy and paste the exact same thing, session ID. And the last thing you see is cookie, but the cookie is not inside the JSON, right? And so when it's done getting it from the server, you will see that actually cookie is left as null. There's nothing. So we manually have to type in what the cookie is. So inside the cookie, notice how over here inside the response headers, because the response inside the body is only this, but also the server gives us a few other things. The server also gives us a response header. And inside the response header, one of the items are a set cookie. So over here, I'm just telling it, hey, inside the response header, where is it? Inside the response header, so give me every single one of the responses that response headers that I just got from the server, and get the exact response header that's called set cookie, right? Notice over here
Mhm.
how it's called set cookie, right?
Yeah.
And get the first item, because I'm not sure if you know this, but inside the headers you can do duplicates. So you could do set cookie of this and then add another header. That's so over here I can do header 2, and this is completely valid, right? Even though they're of the same name and they have different values, this is still valid. So basically, we're just telling it, get me the first example of set cookie and set it as the cookie and return to me this object. Does that sort of make sense so far? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So Jason, I have a question. So
Mhm.
when I was trying to access this to see the JSON and the headers and everything, I got a 404 status response, it said unauthorized. So I was wondering why.
Okay. Could you do me a favor and share your screen real quick?
Yeah, let me show you what I saw.
Okay.
And you let me just.
And show me your headers.
So yeah, I also tried. Oh yeah, I think I know why. I didn't finish the. Is it supposed to end with
No, no,
headers?
no, no. There's no
Okay,
underscore.
okay. No underscore. The
And click
hyphen
send.
something. Click send.
Okay. Um, inside the show me your parameters and your body tab. Okay, and body. Okay, go ahead and delete all that because there's no body. Content type. Go ahead and click none.
Okay.
Try again. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and under the send. Do you see how there's an arrow down?
Yeah.
Show code. All right, one moment here. Let me compare it with what I got. And scroll down a little bit.
I think that's the end.
Content type. Wow. Okay. Um, do me a favor. I think I know what's going on here. I have a sneaking suspicion. Go in the chat and could you copy this code that I just have in the chat, and then go back to Hopscotch.
Yeah, I copied it.
Okay. Close this window. Open up a new tab on
Here.
Hopscotch. Yep. Under send, click arrow down. Import curl. Paste what I just gave you. And click import and run it again. And if it fails, I think I know why. Okay. I think I know. Okay. So how Card Cache does this is they probably have something of the sort where they track what IP you're coming from, and depending on your IP, it will generate an XCC app header. So notice under the headers, if you go under the headers, the Q3VS1ZXO, I think that header is only valid on my IP. So if you run on your IP, it's not going to work, right?
Okay.
So, why don't you share a screen of you going to Chrome, any Google Chrome link? And I can't see it right now because you're only sharing your screen for Hopscotch. So you have to switch that over.
Okay, let me share. Just 1 second.
If that's the case, then the same thing is going to happen to me if I try to run that same curl.
Yes. So we're actually going to make a quick change, and I'll show you guys how to store production keys and keys that change. Because right now we hard coded it, and that's not the right way to do it. I'll show you guys the right way to do it in a little bit. All right, go ahead and go to right click.
Right click. Okay.
Yeah, and you should see a button that says something of the sort where it says inspect or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, click inspect.
Do you prefer it this way or on the side? I know people.
Okay. You're gonna have to share your entire screen because the way
Okay.
you're
So you
doing
don't.
it,
Okay.
it's doing some weird stuff. Yeah, you're gonna have to share your entire screen, unfortunately, for this to work. All right. Go ahead and right click the. Go ahead and open up a new tab and.
Yeah.
All right.
You see
On
it?
network. All right. So now what's going on is we're recording all the traffic, all the APIs that we're currently going to. So go to cardcache.com.
Within the same.
Yep, same window, yes. Okay. Click on fetch/XHR.
Where is
Or
it?
down a little bit in that little lower window.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's right. All right, click on session. Okay. Go scroll down a little bit. So this is the response headers, but keep scrolling down. Request headers, keep scrolling down.
And that's the end. Oh, is it this?
Yes, that's right. So you want to copy that and paste it into your hopscotch and see what happens.
I think
And
it's
if it
the
still
same.
fails, I still have another thing I can do.
It's the same. Like I can see it's Q3VST1ZXO. It's the same.
Okay, easy. Then go under sessions again, real quick. Go to sessions,
Okay.
and then right click sessions, and then go ahead and click copy, and copy as curl bash all the way down, down. Yes,
Yes,
right
okay.
there, curl bash. Yes. Go back to hopscotch.
Let me share that screen because I think I have two screens, so it keeps on telling me to share both screens. Okay, just 1 second. Let me stop sharing.
We can't see any of your screens right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and click the arrow down under send. Import curl. Paste all that in. Import.
And then send.
Yes.
This is different.
Wait. Can you show me your Google Chrome tab again? Because I think... Or could you actually paste that curl real quick to me real quick? I just want to read through it. Because I think maybe the way it was made was kind of weird.
So give me 1 second. I put all of this in one screen, then it'll be easier to show because
Sure.
yeah. Okay. Then let me go to all of this. Let me go to. So, are you seeing my screen?
Yep,
Yeah.
you're looking good. You copied the session.
I copied the whole section. Okay.
Mm-hmm. What I also know is hopscotch can be a little iffy sometimes, so that could also be the problem.
So, should I try with Postman? Because I also have Postman.
Yeah, did you post your curl, or can you DM me the curl that you just copied and pasted? I just want to see it real quick, and I want to be able to run on my machine.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and send that. I know it's large. It's okay.
it looks
A
like
lot of it's
content.
junk and nonsense, but
Yeah, I can't even post it. It tells me it
oh,
looks like your content contains markdown. Apply formatting.
don't ask again. Click don't ask again. The reason why is because it's too large. If you do it as a
Yeah.
snippet, it should allow you to do it as a snippet. I can't really see it, but there should be a way to do it as a snippet.
How is it done?
Or go to pastebin.net. Or just search up pastebin. I'm not sure if it's .net, but just search up pastebin. Okay. Go ahead and click the first link. Paste whatever you got in there. Okay, scroll all the way down. Click create new paste. All right, send me that link, and I can copy and paste it. So
Sorry,
delete all this.
his screen looks very compressed to me. What does Pastebin do?
Basically, it's like a if you want to share like a note or like a something like that. Pastebin is just a way for you to like copy and paste and share a note to as many people as you want.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Is this
Without it being an issue of the file being too big.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a limit, but it's pretty dang large. Yeah. Oh no, just give me the URL. The very top, that says pastebin.com slash like HAQ1 whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just give me that, and then I can just copy and paste it.
Let me try to increase
So you can
this.
delete all this and just give me the URL. Yeah. Control A, delete. Yeah. Cool.
Can you see Mo? Can you see clearly
Yep.
now?
I got everything
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Pastebin.
I can. That's so
Yeah.
much
Okay.
better. Thank you.
Yeah. I tried to zoom it in. Okay.
Oh. You copied everything. I'm not sure if you noticed, but under your look at line 527. Go to your Pastebin again and look at line 527. That's the actual thing you were looking for. You copied
527.
everything when you shouldn't have.
This.
Give me a minute here. Yeah, so look from 527 to line 542. That's the correct curl you're trying to import. You're not trying to import every
Okay.
single curl that your website or your web browser has ever touched. Right? You're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to go to the correct one. So go ahead and
Copy
do that
this.
instead.
Okay. So try that in. I don't know if I can increase this. How does someone increase the font in this?
Yeah,
Font
so
size.
delete this tab, or you can you can close and delete this tab, or you can import curl. Either way is fine.
I'm trying to find it.
Mhm. There
Oh
you go,
yeah,
200. Okay,
now it
and
works.
if you
Yep.
click under headers, no, the
Mhm.
other one, bottom, because you want the response
Oh,
headers, right?
yeah.
Take a look for set cookie.
Set cookie.
Right there, you have a valid cookie.
Okay. Should I copy it?
You can if you want, but that's just kind of giving you an overview of how that endpoint works. So it works on your machine now, right? We're all good?
Yep. Yep. We're
All
good now.
right. Um, so I'll share my screen real quick again. But you know what, Gene, I'm very glad you brought up this point. Um, it happens to be that this XCC app Q3VS T1X or ZXO, whatever, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
it works on everyone's machine. But say, for an example, this is either a private key or maybe each machine has its own key, something of the sort where it's different on everyone, right? And we don't want to hard code it because it would be unrealistic for us to change the code every time we deploy this code on another machine, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how do we approach this problem? That's a good problem, right? Spring has actually already thought of this. So you can see there's a file called application.properties, right? And so over here, for example, the database that I have my own username and my own password. It's going to be different from your database username and password. And later on, when we deploy on a server, right, that server is going to have a different username and password, right? And so because it changes, you put it around a dollar sign in a bracket and then a closing bracket, and then you give the variable a name. This is what's called an environmental variable. So based off of what environment you're running it on, it will grab
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay? And then we can
Yeah.
set that variable over here. If we go over here, click edit configurations, and over you guys won't see this, but you have to click on modify options and then click environmental variable. Make sure there's a check right next to it. I'm not going to click it again because then mine's going to disappear. But if you click it and you see a check, then a little um, thing over here will appear. And so you get separate variable names with variable equals value and variable one equals value one, right? So in this case, I have my database password and my database username. And you can see over here, I have my username and password right here. So even if it's on your machine and it's different, it's always going to show up. And so equivalently, I'm going to show you on my project here. And this is my own private project, guys, so don't copy it, please. But
Mhm.
um, you can see, give me a minute here. If I click on mine, another variable that often occurs is, say, for example, if I'm running on one, I might be running this on different URLs, right? So I have one URL that's localhost 8080, right? And maybe I have another URL that's actually like mywebsite.com, right? So over here, not only do I have my username and passwords, but also I can put in stuff like emails because that might change. So if I go ahead and I do this, you can see I can inject something. There's a little tool called at value. And so, for example, I have a double right here, right? And so what will end up happening is double document cost. I never stated what the document cost is. I didn't do document cost equals zero point 0.5, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what if I put it at value and I say, hey, add this weird line here? Basically, this dollar sign in between here, right? And this closing bracket, it will basically say like, hey, look for this environmental variable, okay? Look for it. And if it exists, then inject whatever is inside this variable inside this document cost double. And if this environmental variable doesn't exist, right afterwards, I have a colon, right? Then it's like default to this value. Does that sort of make sense so far? So that's how you
Yeah.
guys uh, implement variables that change per machine. Does that kind of yes, no?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could do like an environmental variable where we're injecting uh, the value of the header, but in this particular case, because um, it is hard coded, it doesn't change on the machine. I'm not too worried about it. All right, all right. All right. So we spent quite a bit of time going through other stuff, which is totally cool. They're very good questions. I'm sure a lot of other people are going to run into the same issues. So thanks for bringing this up. But let's take a look at what you got here. All right. So um, exposing the store list as a REST endpoint. Mm-hmm. Right. So you understand what this method does, right, Gene? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get to the meat and bones of how this works. So let's first take a look at this endpoint. This endpoint gives us. Sorry, let me first copy the cookie because I need a set cookie, right? Without a cookie, I can't go ahead and hit that endpoint. So copy this, and you guys can see my screen so far. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So over here, I have every single one of my merchants, and I think I showed you guys this last time, right? I need three things. Well, three, four, four things, right? First, I need to know that this is a get endpoint. I need this URL because that's the URL we're heading, and I need two more things: the two headers right here, cookie and the XCC app, right? And so a cookie. Uh-oh. I messed it up. Damn it. I messed it up. Sorry, guys. Give me just one moment. I copied and pasted something wrong, and I totally screwed it up. So that's my bad. One moment here. What is this endpoint called? Copy as bash. Import curl. Okay, it is doing something a little weird today. Copy as curl cmd. Curl bash. Import curl. There we go. Sorry about that. So, all right, we can go ahead and copy and paste all this fun stuff here. And I do want to check when that. Okay, that is correct. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to basically copy and paste this exact same code, but we're going to tweak it a little bit, right, to make sure that we get the exact same thing that we're expecting. And I'm not going to delete your code so far because your code has a lot of gold nuggets that we still need, right? And so we're going to implement those. So the first thing we need is a DTO, right? Just so we know, just so Spring knows exactly, just so Spring knows how this situation works. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at it and we're going to say, hey, Spring. So when we get it back, we get an array called sell merchants, right? And so if we look at it, what we need to do is basically duplicate the same thing. And I already created this for you guys, so one moment. And notice how this name is called sell merchants, right? You guys see this? So when we use this object, basically it will populate and it will turn this array of cell merchants over here and turn it into a list automatically. Spring will deal with that for us. And inside each of the cell merchants, notice how it's a JSON object of ID, name, cell percentage, and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
Well, if we look at this and we go into the cell merchant DTO, I've already taken the liberty of taking the items that we need. So the string of name, the double cell percentage, the limit, and the image, right? And so I will go ahead and go back to the service class, and I'll say, hey, over here in this headers, not only do we need a header CC app right here, what I'm going to do is, I accidentally deleted the top two. Give me one moment here. Public get stored list. Did I mess this up? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Under the headers, I'll add one more, headers dot set. First thing we need to do is we need to generate a session, exactly like what, because in order to generate a session, then we can get the DTO, right? And so over here, inside the headers, then we can go and we need a cookie. So I will go ahead and inside here, I will add a new variable called public static string cookie, and the value of that is equivalent to cookie, right? Cookie, and the value of cookie is going to be the newly generated cookie that we just made right here. Session dot get cookie, right? And so now we've fulfilled at least this part. We have all the we've put in the XCC app and we've put in the cookie. Now we need to make sure that they know it's a GET request and we're hitting this URL, right? So over here in the sorry, there's so many files open. That's why it gets a little confusing. Over here, we already have the URL. It's called GET rates, right? And so I will go ahead and copy this and paste it over here under GET rates. So response entity. This time we're getting a card cache percentage response DTO, right? Card cache percentage response DTO. And inside our instead of creating a new session, we're hitting the get rates API. We're not using post. Remember, over here we're using get, not post.
Get.
Post is a different one. You're using get. That's right. So over here we're switching over to get, and the session generation request entity, which we have over here, basically contains all the headers that we need, right? And over here, we're not creating a card cache session DTO class. We're creating a card cache percentage response DTO, right? And so, last but not least, give me a minute here, store list, right? Last but not least, this thing right here is actually wrong because we are not creating a card cache session DTO response. We're creating a card cache percentage response DTO, right? And so now we have all of the items inside inside this little object here. So this object will now have all the merchants, and inside each of the merchants, it will contain the name, the cell percentage, limit, and image. However, for our endpoint, we don't really care about the percentage, the limits, and the image. The only thing we care about right now is just the name of the merchants, right? And so we got to filter that out. So what you did here was very good. I can see what you did here. It was close, not quite, right? So we made a few small changes. Give me a minute here. And right here, instead of using a hash set, you could use a hash set. I personally prefer a list because that's what we're returning. We're not perusing through the hash set very soon. But so what we're going to do is we're just going to turn this into a list. Equals new linked list. Import class. and you can say this, and you could use something called Java. What you might call it? Java Stream. It
There's
makes it so that you could do it in a one-liner, but it's very difficult to read. I prefer to do it the old way. So if we look through the response, right? So inside the response for response. Give me a minute here. So do you know how this for loop works? I know it looks a little different, but let me know if this doesn't make sense. Basically, what's going on is I'm telling it, okay, look inside the response, which is what we just got, and the response is a type card cache response DTO, right? So inside the response dot get sell merchants, right? So sell merchants is a list of merchant DTO. So basically, I'm saying, give me every single one of these merchant DTOs inside this list, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to say store names dot add, and so inside each of these sell merchant DTOs, get me the name, right? So, oh, look at that. This is exactly what this bottom line is. It's almost word for word the same, right? We'll
yeah,
call it sell merchant DTO. You just call it merchant. It's the same idea. Very good. And we don't return a new array list. We just return the store names.
so
Yeah. So
so
this,
let me ask a question, Jason. So
yes.
the get sell merchants, the response dot get sell merchants, the get sell merchants method. Where are we getting it from? Does it belong to
Could you show me what line you're referring to?
line 45?
45. Yes.
Yeah.
So remember how we got a response, and the response had a list of sell merchants DTO,
Mm-hmm.
right? So inside the sell merchants DTO contains the name, right,
Mm-hmm.
of each merchant. Does that not make sense so far, or
That makes sense. Yeah.
okay? And so basically, I'm saying like, hey, give me the list of the sell merchants, and we're going to look through each of the sell merchants, right, object, and just get the name, and we're going to copy that name and paste it into that new list of the store names that we have.
Store names.
Yeah. Yes, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. So I was asking if you go back.
Sorry, give me a minute here, builder. Yes.
The method name get sell merchants. So I was just wondering which class does it belong to?
Ah, yes. Okay, so
Yeah.
this was another cool thing that I didn't really. I went through it really briefly, but I guess I should have gone through it a lot more in detail. Usually, you have a method called get sell merchants or set sell merchants and stuff like that, right? And you don't see it here, and you're wondering how the hell is it being called. Over here, we have something called at data, right? And at data basically gives us all the getters and setters for
Oh,
us.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah. I
auto
remember you
generates it
mentioned
for
that.
us.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So that's why it exists. You're wondering, like, hey, where the hell is it? It's because
Yeah.
it's
I was
all there.
wondering-
Yep. So it
So
makes our life a lot easier.
that's the advantage of Lombok, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. You have a really good memory. That's good.
Thank you.
But yeah, so actually in this case, we're returning, a item of store list DTO. The problem is right now we have a string. We have a list string of store names, and we need to return a store list DTO, right? And we look at the store list DTO, it contains one object, the store list, right?
Yeah.
So what I can do is I added something called a builder class. What a builder class does is it will automatically go ahead and create an object for you and instantiate it. So how does that work? I'll show you. So copy this. So obviously you have to add at builder right here, right? But if you go like this, return builder, store names. Sorry, store name DTO. My bad.
Pardon me, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to have to leave this session, but I will be contacting you over the week.
Sounds good. No problem.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries. I'll catch you next time.
Yeah, have a good night, Mo.
So over here, you can see I have a store list DTO.builder, and I say, hey, when you're building this object, when you encounter this variable store list, set it equal to this other store names that we just had, right? And then build it. So then after it's done building it, we're going to return it back where? Back onto the controller class, and then we're going to send it back to the user, right? So that's how this endpoint is made. So now let's go ahead and test it. So give me just a moment here. So I got to comment these out, or else Java's going to freak out and be like, "You didn't do anything here." But anyways, yeah. Let me go ahead and implement it. We're going to start the class. Okay, looks good. And last but not least, let's hit it. See, store list, and we have every single store that it contains. Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And so I know it looks ugly, but if I format it real quick, you see, I can look through every single store that we can do, right? So beautiful. All right, very cool. That's amazing. That's what we're looking for. But now we have one more endpoint, right? One more endpoint. And what's that endpoint? The endpoint's right here.
Yeah, the one with the original code.
Yes, this thing, right? And
so this the one that you just uncommented. So that's when I was like going through it, ChatGPT asking it questions. It was telling me that there's a problem with the API design because the get exchange percentage method is trying to get. So the previous one, the previous code, the public exchange rate DTO get exchange percentage was getting a single merchant, a single percentage from a single merchant. But instead, given that sell merchant DTO is supposed to return a list of merchants, so you have to.
So I coded
get a
this
list.
wrong. I think there was a little bit of a mistake. Let me double check that I had this beforehand. Because I may have made this mistake. Give me just one moment here. Controller. Get store list. Get mapping. No, I had it as, I think your ChatGPT changed it. You can see over here.
Yeah, it changed it. Yeah, because it was suggesting something different. That's why I even wanted to DM you on Slack and ask you, hey, is it possible we could do it this way or?
No, just do it.
Good that
do it this way, and I'll show you the right way to do it, just so it kind of makes sense. And remember, at any time, if you have questions, please make sure you ask me questions, because I don't want you getting lost track in time and like, I don't know what to do here. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that you understand exactly what's going on. And so over here, let's see, your code here is generate session, get cookie, store name, for cache service, generate session, get store percentage. Okay. So there are actually a few small things we need to change here. Okay. First, remember how I told you how the controller class doesn't do any logic, right?
Yeah.
So the controller class shouldn't be generating the session. That should be up to the service class to figure that out, right?
Okay.
So that's why over here, when we get the store list, I didn't put this part in the controller class. I put it in the service class. That's right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do the same thing here. So I'm gonna delete this. The only thing that there's only one thing that we really need to do here in the controller class, right? It's if the object dot is null Or actually, we could just use string utils as well. String utils is null or empty. Store name. Then we're gonna do something, and we'll throw an error here. Now, I will get back to that in a little bit. It's very important how we throw the error, because if we throw the error wrong, um, it will look really weird and funky, right? And our code will become very, very spaghetti. So that's not the right way we want to do it. But just remember that in the back of your mind. Hey, later on, we want to make sure that if the store name doesn't is null or it's empty, we want to make sure that we have some way of throwing an error, right? And so remember yesterday how I had this HTTP cat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so normally speaking, when everything's happy, we get a 200 okay, right? But if it's a bad request, right, then we throw a 400, right?
400. Yeah.
That's right. So it's not forbidden, it's not unauthorized, but it's a bad, because you've given me something bad, right? You're requesting something bad, right? So we would throw a 400. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit, okay? But just remember, throw error, throw 400. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Okay, go to get store percentage, right? And let's first implement the logic, assuming that everything works right and the user gives me a valid store name, right? String store name. And the store name is exactly like something that was inside this huge list, right? If they, for example, type in IHOP, exactly as listed, right? So what do? Well, we can copy at least this part of the code, right? Because this part of the code gives us a card cache percentage response, and inside this list, one of the merchants matches the name, and it contains the percentage, the limit, and the image. The percentage and the limit DTO, right? Which is all information that we kind of need. And so give me just one moment here. Let me change this back to exchange rate DTO. Right? And inside the exchange rate DTO, what do we have? We have the store name, percentage, min limit, max limit, and the gift card image, right? So same thing. Let me go ahead and but here's the thing. You don't want to duplicate code, because if we duplicate code, things can get very, very messy, right? And so what do? We can put this inside a method, right? Public get all store rates, right? And so public, what do we call this? What do we get back? It's a card cache response DTO, right? So if I throw this bad boy in here, and I go ahead and copy this, or cut this, and paste in here. Oh. Right, and I return response, right? Then I can do something like this. All right. So now that we have this common code that basically gets every single store and the exchange rates, I can paste it in here and reuse it. See, notice how this code is a lot more clean, right? If I read through it, it's like only like 10 lines of code versus me having to copy and paste the exact same code over again, right?
Yeah.
And so over here, what I'm going to do is I now have a list of every single store, right? And I go like this. I'm going to do the exact same thing where I'm going to do this, where I'm going to get the sell merchant DTO, right? And if the sell merchant DTO dot get name is equals the store name that we're looking for, right? Then what do? Well, then we want to return it, right? So we have to turn this sell merchant DTO into an exchange rate DTO. And we can see it's quite simple, right? We have the name, sell percentage, limit, and image. Over here, in the same way with the store name, percentage, min, max, limit, and the gift card image. And so what we can do actually over here is do something like this. Public, or Yeah, we could do public exchange rate detail. We can create our own custom constructor, right? And we can actually take in an object of
Of okay. Of cell merchant DTO.
yes, that's right. And so then, oh shoot,
Yeah, that would
sorry,
have to
this
be
has to be
capitalized.
capitalized. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we can go like this. This dot store name is equal to cell merchant detail dot get name. This dot uh, percentage is equivalent to cell merchant detail dot get cell percentage, right? This dot min limit is equal to cell merchant detail dot get limit dot get min. This dot max limit is equal to cell merchant detail dot get limit dot get max. And this dot gift card image is equal to cell merchant detail dot get image. Uh-oh. String image. Oh, my bad. There we go. Okay. All right. So very simple.
So
Now we have this custom constructor. Sorry, go ahead. What do you want to say?
that was interesting because at first I was wondering how does exchange rate DTO and cell merchants DTO, how are they related, or how would I create a relationship between them? But now
Right.
yeah, when you created a constructor, an
Right. Right.
exchange rate DTO constructor that takes in the cell merchant DTO, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Right. Right. And okay, now we still have an error, right? Because that's great. If we can find it, then we return it, right? But what if the store doesn't exist? So let's just say if you have a typo, instead of IHOP, you put IHIP or something, right? So you mistyped it. So over here, what do? We also want to throw a bad request because it doesn't exist, right?
Mhm.
We could take a look at the other status codes, but I don't think they're very good. No response, upgrade required, right? Locked too early. I don't think any of these are correct. There's no conflict. There's no timeout. Not found. Oh, actually,
Not
404.
found.
We
Yeah,
want to throw a
404 not
404
found.
because it's not found. This store is
Yeah.
not found, right? So throw 404. All right. So now let's go ahead and get this part done. So last time I think I showed you guys there is and I opened up my own project because I have literally everything in my own project here.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
something you talked about. You said it's
Advice.
advice. Yeah,
Yeah.
you said something about it. You can throw exceptions and for the whole Spring Boot project, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. So anywhere in the Spring Boot project. So if I
Mm-hmm.
throw it in the service class, if I throw it in the controller class, I can throw this error anywhere in the Spring Boot project, and Spring will say, "Hey, I see this exception. I know when I see this exception, it means 404 or it means 400." So I will show you how that's done. Give me just one moment. So I'm going to create a new package called advice. And under the advice, I'm going to create a new, I think it's called platform exception handler. Yeah, you could call it whatever you want. I call it that just because it describes it very well. Platform exception handler, right? And we're also going to create a new package called exception, right? And so we can do something like a store not found exception, right? Extends exception. And we can also do another one called new Java class. What was the other error? Store or invalid request or bad request exception, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it also extends exception,
Exception.
right? And so
So
we can
this.
add two things. Obviously, same thing because these two are both objects, right? What we're going to do is we're going to copy this data so we can have all the getters and setters and all that fun stuff. We don't have to worry about it, right? And
So in
also,
this
what we're
case, you're creating a custom exception.
that's right. Yes, that's right. And what we're going to do is a string uh, error message, right? And so same thing here. Okay. And so what we're going to do over here is we're going to say, hey, throw new bad request or store not found exception, right? Store not found. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Store not found exception, and inside because remember over here we have the all args constructor, so it will create a
Mhm.
constructor also that has that will allow you to type in all of the variables. So inside the variable we have an error message, so it'll say, hey, store does not exist, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. I think it's just freaking out for now, but that's okay. We will go back and take a look at it later on. Hopefully, it doesn't freak out once I add the advice class. But yeah, let's see what happens. Throw new. Uh, what's the other exception called? Bad request
Bad
exception.
request exception.
Yeah. Store name cannot is invalid, right? And inside the platform exception handler, we're going to toss in this bad boy. And at the very top, we have to tell it that this is advice. And I'm just going to copy and paste this real quick. Generally, you're not supposed to, but I'm just going to do it. And over here, you're going to say, hey, for this particular one, I want you to catch what kind of exception, right? And so we're actually going to create two of them. One of them is going to catch the bad request exception. The other one is going to catch the store not found exception, right?
Store.
And so when we get each one of these, we're going to return a response entity of store not found exception, and this one's the bad request exception. And what we're going to do is actually we can keep a stack trace just so it prints it out so we can read it later on. As developers, we want to know what happened, right?
Well,
If it's
yeah.
something that we did wrong, then we can look through it, right? Otherwise, it's bad for us. And we're gonna do a bad request exception handler. Store not found exception handler, and we're going to return a exception E. We're going to return exception E here. Oh, required type. What? Store not found. Provided bad request exception. My bad. Sorry. And this one is store not found. Store not found exception, and this one is bad request exception. There we go. And inside the HTTP status for the bad reception answer, it's a bad request, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one is not found. Not found.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. So every time, anywhere in the Spring Boot class, we throw a bad request exception, this code will catch it, and it will throw back a bad request, a 403, And anywhere in the code we throw a store not found exception, this code will catch it and it will throw a 404, right? Beautiful. Um, Last thing,
Mm.
it is freaking out that it doesn't know how to deal with this, and I'm not sure how to fix it. If you don't mind, give me 1 minute. I'm going to look up some resources, and
Okay.
I'll get right back. It shouldn't be a very difficult problem, but because I used to deal with this all the time, and it's a problem. 1 moment. Um, uh, what's it called? Advice. Um, Private. It's a private method. Okay. Exception handler, Rest controller advice, exception handler. But I already did that. Sorry about this. I thought I remember how to do this, but apparently there's a part where I forgot. It's freaking out about something here, real quick.
So I do have a lot of questions to ask, but it's
Yeah,
not
go for it. Go for it. If you
it's not necessarily connected to this project,
okay,
but it's just in Spring Boot and Spring in general.
okay.
Yeah. So maybe if we finish up on this, then I'll ask you those questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Give me just a minute here. But I already dealt with it here. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. It may or may not be a good idea. Let's see what happens. That's not the right way to do it, but
Mhm. Must be code from the
yeah,
client.
that's not the right way to do it.
Can you? Is it possible to include the throws keyword onto the like
Uh,
the method itself, the get store percentage method itself? If
Sorry.
the Is it possible to add in the throws keyword in the
No.
get store percentage method itself? Or
Throws new. No, it's just a throw. It's just
okay,
singular throw. Let me see if it's sneaky throw. But I don't know why it's freaking out because I added it here and inside the rest controller. Maybe this is the reason why. No, but even then, that's not the right way to do it. I think I just have to also have a general exceptions class, maybe? Hmm. Unhandled exception, even though it's actually handled. Yeah. I have a similar situation. No, that's not right. Let me take a look at what Bing says. I'm actually genuinely kind of curious.
Okay. So, as a developer, would you encourage a beginner to kind of use AI?
You
Yeah.
can, but don't rely on it to.
Okay.
So, okay, here's the thing. AI is like a really smart. I shouldn't say really smart, but somewhat smarter companion that can answer very specific questions. So, say for example, this is a very specific question. Why is it giving me this specific error? Right? And is caught. And so you can use it for that. But if you're saying like, hey, I have this entire ticket or entire assignment and I don't know how to do it, Bing AI figure it out how to do it for me. You're gonna get the wrong answer or really bad answers every single time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
specific things is fine. Overall things horrible. Um,
So you should have at least an idea of what's troubling you and or how to go about it. But yeah, maybe you just need fact to fact check something. So
that's right. Yep.
okay.
All right. It looks like you've created. Okay, but your ID is still flagging as unhandled. Expressions to Spring Boot first ensure the exception handlers method. I don't think it needs both controller advice and rest controller advice. But okay. Okay, exception handler, controller advice, yeah. Top body. Ensure that your bad request exception extends the runtime exception or similar exception class. If it doesn't, oh, maybe that's why. There we go. See? We can use AI, but only for very specific small areas. See that? So you don't ask it overall. You just ask it very specific questions. Okay, so let's take a look at the over here. One of the items is MLB shop, or let's choose a one word item. So like PacSun, right? So if I go like this and I hit the endpoint store percentage, right? So localhost.com question mark. What's the thing called? Store name is equivalent to PacSun. Ideally, we can see the maximum limit is 500. The percentage we're going to get is 68. The minimum limit is 10. The store name is PacSun, and the gift card image is this. And if we go to this image, we get a picture of a PacSun gift card, right? Their logo, right?
Okay.
And so if I search up, instead of PacSun, if I search up PacSu,
Well, we get a very
so I guess our exception class is a little bit wrong, right? So we need to change that real quick. We can still see, however, give me a minute here. Let me go ahead and open up the, where's the inspect?
I think it's at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we go into the networks tab and I run this, you can see that for our headers, we're still getting a 404 not found, right?
Mm-hmm.
And over here, if I give it empty, you'll see that we get a 400 bad request. So that part is correct. The body part is incorrect. So we could take a look at the whole AI thing again. And I think instead of E, I could probably E dot bad request exception get arrow body. Or how do I? Give me just one moment here. Let me double check one thing here. Default exception handler. Return error code. Response entity dot class. Okay. Response entity dot status. Okay. I think I know what's going on here. I think bad request is here. Oh, that's why. Dot E. Yeah, something like this. I can copy and paste this right here, but instead, I'm going to do the not found here, right? Let's see if this code works instead. And I think it should give us the correct JSON. If not, we can work this as a small. This is a minor bug, right? But
Okay.
You can kind of see where we're going from here. So, okay, it's not working as properly. I don't know how to make it work. We can figure it out next time, right? But you can kind of understand how this entire situation sort of works, right? Yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So, I guess we can stop here for today because you guys learned a lot. You guys learned how to use API,
To use API.
Yes. Well, how to create an API, really, how to hit an API, and how to deal with error responses, right, and response codes. So those are a few very big topics. Yeah, you said you had quite a few questions, right? Let's hear them. What were your questions?
So I just wanted to know. I think in reference to like the topics to learn, uh, just before I like get serious with Spring Boot, because personally I have an apprenticeship slash internship coming up,
Hmm.
and when I saw your message on Slack, like you're teaching backend development, and when I DM'd you, and you told me it's Java, I was like, oh, thank God, this is the perfect like thing. So and when I joined this, I saw that I really have a lot to learn given the topics and everything. Like I'm
Hmm.
following everything you're doing. I'm understanding the things you're doing, but when it comes to coding on my own, it could be a bit tough because there's so many topics. I know Spring and Spring Boot is a very large. As much as it's lightweight, it's still a very large framework, and there's a lot of things to learn.
Right,
So
right.
yeah. So and I've been learning Java for the past few months. So I think I'm good with the basics, the fundamentals. But
Mm.
now when it coming to frameworks, that's where I am completely new.
Right.
So yeah, so just looking at all of this, it's like I've been bombarded with a lot of information. It's like yeah, learning about the HTTP the HTTP entity, all these things. It's like
Mm.
new terms. So I just wanted to hear your advice on how can I like what can I learn. I know it's going to take a while before I get good at this, but like a roadmap kind of thing. Because I was checking out different like tutorials on Spring and everything, and some was saying you should learn Spring first before going to Spring Boot. You should learn JSP and servlets before you tackle all of
No, you
this.
don't need to learn. I mean, all of those already you could learn them, but
Okay.
realistically speaking, you need to know. If you're working for a company, you need to learn some Spring repositories, so JPA,
Yeah.
Hibernate,
Hibernate.
and
Yeah.
a lot of these other things. And so, if I were you, I think what's going on is you're too hyper focused on what you want to learn because there's so many technologies out there, depending on each company. Because I told you how last time, and you can still see my screen, right?
Yeah. I can still see your screen.
So remember how I told you last time for Spring there's so many dependencies, right?
Yeah.
Look at all these, and this is not even a comprehensive list. This is just like what's out there that most people use, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I only know like maybe 10 or 20 of these, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
if I were and each microservice will have different requirements, right? And so every single person's passage to becoming a better and better developer has different requirements for what they need to learn, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I wouldn't worry too much about like, oh, what if I don't know Spring Security? What if I don't know JPA? What if I don't know XYZ, right? Advice. Um, that's why over here, what I'm doing is I'm just giving you a very simple project that a lot of people could do, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
creating an okay, I have like eBay, I have card cash, and I just want to find the arbitrage, right? This is a very, very simple project. Um, and so if you learn from this, you will get a lot of major um, like tools that you'll need to know later on. And so the next step, I think, is I'll add in some database support because databases are very common, right? You
Yeah.
can't get away with from that. That's the whole idea behind Spring as well. And so as we go along, I'm going to keep on adding more and more advanced features and topics and things to do, right? But um, that's why instead of what I used to do is just like, hey, this is how you use Spring Security, blah 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 blah, and people are like, okay, watching it, it makes sense, but it's not. I feel like it's a little bit of a waste of time because if I want to know Spring Security, I'm just gonna watch some Indian YouTuber guy on YouTube teach me in 30 minutes, right? It's no difference. But if I give you a real project and you
Mm-hmm.
struggle with it and you learn
Yeah.
it and you're like, hey, this is what I need to learn, then um, I promise you, like, yes, it's going to be a lot harder, but you're going to learn so much more because you get hands-on support. or hands-on experience as to how it works. Um, just trust me when I tell you this. It's like it's significantly better that way. So yeah,
Yeah. It's like trial by fire. Like you just
yeah, a
go
little
like
bit.
yeah, just dive in and just figure things out as you're building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hopefully that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because yeah, I've had that concern. I was like, I don't know what to study. I don't know what I should know. The probably things I don't know that I should know.
Hmm.
Like all that fiasco. So
You don't have to worry about it because with our
yeah.
project, we're going to touch a little bit of everything, and so everything that
Hmm.
you need to know for the basics at least, you are
Yeah.
going to be able to touch. So later on, and every company is going to be different. So maybe there's a couple things that we don't touch, but because you have all of the basics that like 99% of the people use, the extra one or two items that you will touch, it will be very quick for you to learn, right? And you
Yeah.
once you kind of understand how Spring works from the fundamental level, that new thing
Hmm.
that you're learning how to learn they're learning how to do,
Hmm.
you'll be able to catch on much quicker, right? So that's the
Yeah.
idea behind it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
cool, cool. All right, so I think if there any are there any other questions, or do you think we can stop for today?
Yeah, I think we can stop for today. If I have any other question, I'll DM you on Slack. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, of course. Best of luck. Oh, and before I go, actually, I'm gonna move this over here. Okay. And so now we have these two objects. I'm going to create a very, very simple task. And actually, I'm going to move this to in review just so people can keep on working on it. But it's like given two store names that are not exactly the same, EX, um, 1-800 flowers vs 1-800 flowers, right?
Yeah.
Make our endpoint get store more resilient, so it still works with close matches. And I'll see if you guys can figure this one out.
Okay.
Yeah. So um,
So that's like a form of exception handling. Like, is
it
it really
could be.
exception
It could
handling?
be. So if it's too far apart, you still want to exception handle it. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're close, how do we want to? How do we want to go ahead? Um, let's see. Match two store names that are not exact. And in the description, I'm going to be like, given two mismatching store names. EX, okay, got it. So something like this. Right. Okay, so this sort of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to assign this task to everyone so you guys can work on it, and then we'll see what you guys got on next Friday. But this should be very simple. This is like 10 lines of code. I have
Yeah.
faith in you guys. You guys got this.
Yeah, I think, and also, I think you'll have to commit the code, and then we can like pull it.
Yes, I will go
Yeah.
and do that now. And fixed end points for listing stores and getting store detail / percentages. All right. Cool, cool. All right, sounds good. Then that's what we're going to do for today.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining me, Gene. I appreciate it.
Uh, yeah. Thanks for teaching us this.
Yeah, no worries. It's my
It's
pleasure.
really eye opening. Yeah.
I think everyone should learn this. It's really